we started working on this list on Friday. We were talking about the Vivi shells. We're playing a Cauldron Vivi deck that wasn't going very well. Maybe we'll return to Cauldron Vivi. Maybe we won't. There's a chatter while we were brainstorming who suggested including Temporal Trespass in the deck. And I think it's a card that just makes a lot of sense. Like, Vivi is a card that just really... It's like a setup card. You have one big setup turn, and then you want to like pop off the following turn. And so in a deck that's playing Emry, in a deck that's playing a lot of cheap spells, in a deck that could really just facilitate a delve card really well, a deck that's playing a lot of card advantage, a lot of zero mana accelerates, Trespass just makes so much sense, especially where you have Steel Cutter, which also just like Temporal Trespass Steel Cutter is so nuts. Temporal Trespass Vivi is so nuts. Trespass Emry, Trespass Tamiyo. All of these things are just so strong together. It's been a really nice part of the plan. It also solves a big part of Vivi's problem, right? Where like Vivi it wants you to be kind of proactive, right? It wants you to cast a lot of spells on your turn. It wants you to deal a lot of damage, but it's a slow card. It's kind of just not proactive enough on its own for it to like, you know, kill your opponent fast enough to keep up with the other non-interactive decks. So when you have a card like Temporal Trespass in your main deck, this is just going to give you the density of turn 4 kills that this kind of archetype needs to not this archetype needs to not need to main deck a bunch of counter magic. Now the big change from Friday is that I'm not playing Urza Saga in this deck. Saga has felt bad in this deck with the blue-red from Iteration, the triple blue from Temporal Trespass. Sequencing also you very rarely want to make a Saga token because you just have so much card draw you need to be casting instead. I do think it's possible you could play maybe the first Urza Saga is still good, but I definitely also once we figured that the Lrien Revealed is pretty mandatory in your Vivi decks, I really recommend just kind of playing 3 or 4 in all of your Vivi builds so that you have that mana sink, flood insurance. Pretty happy with the no Saga plan here. Any other? So that's the big change. You have a second Surveil land because we're not playing Saga. A bunch of lanterns to the sideboard to compensate not having the main deck Saga for Lantern, which is definitely something you miss from losing it. Extra Unholy Heat in the main deck. I think that's everything. We can go ahead and jump into a league. Good morning, everybody. Thank you for joining me on this Tuesday morning. All right, got to mulligan this one lander. Pretty close. Oh, I guess one more thing. I knew there was one more thing. I'm playing the 4th Mox Amber over the 4th Mox Opal, and it kind of immediately doesn't look that good, but you just have, like, Amber has just been, like, the one I've been preferring to have in my opening hand pretty consistently. So I could draw that, Surveil, or Cycle Lrien Revealed, Surveil. I guess that's going to be okay. Just kind of wait the turn 3 Vivi. I've thought about an energy version of Vivi Wizards. Amulet is strong with Emry. I have thought about playing Unstable Amulet, Discharge Tune. It's a kind of a big package of cards in a deck that's already pretty dang full. Mirror match? So we're not going to be able to pop off with this next turn. I think I'm still keeping. So let's go ahead and draw this, or Surveil with this, just Surveil again. The next turn we can try to pop off. So next turn I can go Vivi, Amber, Bauble, Tamiyo, and Steel Cutter. Seems like a good turn. Welcome, great Gazmo. Now, my opponent might have the card Counter Spell in their hand here. I think let's try to play around a counter spell by going Steel Cutter Tamiyo. You do miss the monk. Yeah, I know you missed the monk. I mean, I couldn't play the Steel Cutter last turn. I had 2 tap lands. Well, that's not a card that could have countered Vivi. Should have played around. Should have played around that. Alright, they're tapping out. They draw 2 cards with Of Blood Mine. So they're playing Young Pyromancer potentially. Potentially they're playing Jorial? Is that the card we used to play with Upwood Mind? The one that you would get like a Panther token? So getting this VV to 6 toughness is nice. They do have Delirium for Unholy Heat, so if we could get that 1 more toughness, that would be even nicer. Maybe I wanted to use... Yeah, let's use the mana now, so maybe I could hold up like a Flame of Anor on my opponent's turn. If I drew... I guess I can't... I guess off the Bauble I could draw. Oh, although... If I lose the clue token in the Bauble, my Opal's offline. Alright, I am 2 mana short of casting this, so let's just crack the Bauble. So you see a Mox Jasper, holy guacamole. So that's what's going on with the Upwood Mind, I guess. Izzet Charm is also freaking me out. Ah, Song of Creation. So winning the game this turn seems important. Oh, well, I guess they might win the game this turn. So they're just playing all the Moxen. I think if I had just not played around the counterspell, we had a solid chance. Yeah, opponent is definitely cooking. We want to see as much as possible. Did I hit the 4th Force of Negation? Looks like I'm still on 3. There's the, not too surprising Magda. I think lumping Magda and Song Creation together makes a lot of sense. Interested to see what the payoff is. There's maybe, I don't know how big of a problem is it that like you're probably going to draw your Magda hit off of the Song of Creation. Maybe that's not a problem. Do you think Vivi is in there? There's a good chance. So the win con is Conflagrate. Well, that looks pretty brilliant. Oh, we don't want to concede it because we want to make them discard all the cards so we can see more of the deck. Storm Dragon would be a fun payoff. That's true, although it's kind of sad that you can't you don't get the triggers if you Magda to put it into play. Okay, so Corvold is one of the payoffs. Beyond that, we didn't see any new cards. Okay, fascinating. So let's bring in the Fire Magics, because they got a lot of 1 toughness creatures, and the Force of Negations. I think I want to trim a copy of Unholy Heat. I might cut all the Steel Cutters, too. I like to cut the Steel Cutters when I'm up against combo decks that are just a lot faster than me, and just lean on Vivi as my win condition instead. Yeah, let's do that here. Well, brilliant hand. Do I think Glimpse is underplayed? Feels like I haven't seen it in forever. It's probably pretty good against Boros. I mean, it was when we were playing it a little while ago. Yeah, I'll give it an underplayed, sure. It usually, in my opinion, just kind of lives and dies on how popular is the card Orcish Bowmaster. Because like that card is just so miserable to run into. Like when I was playing the deck, I just had to main deck a bunch of Grape Shots, even when they weren't that well positioned, just because that was your best way to be good against Bowmaster, or like not just auto lose to Bowmaster. Okay, not a bad turn 2. Keep tapping this for blue. Okay. So play Vivi. I think I'll probably Mox Amber and then cast Iteration. Spike, is Vivi so good? Vivi is not so good. Vivi is a playable modern card. I've kind of been trying to manage expectations on Vivi because does seem to like there's been a big disconnect with how good Vivi actually is and how good Vivi people expected Vivi to be. But Vivi is a playable modern card. I think we've found a really good direction to go with Vivi. We've tried Counterspell version. We actually didn't play the Counterspell version. We played the Curiosity version. We played the Cauldron version. But this Temporal Trespass build has just been incredibly promising. And so this is what we're trying to focus on and explore at the moment. That resolves. All right, let's buy back the iteration. If we can hit a extra or a Temporal Trespass here, we should be easily winning. Nice. So hands. I guess I'll exile the Bauble since this goes to the graveyard to make Trespass just 3 mana turn here, but it shouldn't really matter. Blue, blue, blue. Oh, I guess the Emry made that also 3 mana. I don't know. It probably doesn't matter. I'm not gonna. Even though we have the Tamiyo in play, this also doesn't matter because they're just dead to me attacking. I don't need to cast a single other spell, so let's not bother thinking about what we're exiling to the Trespass. Yeah, but the ability to just like ignore what your opponent's doing and just kill them is so nice. Saying it out loud like that, it sounds kind of obvious, but so nice. I'll have to try Narset. Yeah, playing Narset also with Trespass makes a lot of sense, I think. Don't think we need to like try to figure that out right now, but I'd be open to also playing Narset, yeah. I know no 1-1 the comparison to Opal and your Hammerless. What could go in those slots or both boys? You could play Springleaf Drums pretty easily. More, you could play like 3 more Springleaf Drums and 1 more Dragonfire Blade. Well, this hand doesn't have double Force of Negation, but I'm going to keep. The Fire Magic does seem like it has the potential to be really crazy against them. When are we playing Vivi and taking turns? Well, I don't know that we necessarily want to play the card Time Warp in this deck, but you could. To me, it seems like this is a better direction to go than casting the card Time Warp, probably. Alright, I'm just going to Surveil, I think. Very much want to draw a Force of Negation. Would it pay Vivi with Narset? Yeah. I think that would kind of be the pitch, is that both of these cards like pair pretty well with Temporal Trespass. Trespass Narset does seem like a good idea. Alright, there's a Magda. We got the Fire Magic. Unsure if I'm wanting to cycle Lrien Revealed. I get an extra card in the yard for the Trespass, which is pretty big deal. When I'm gonna want to like play Vivi and try to live. Got to be pretty worried about them killing me not this turn but next turn. So it's possible I want to iterate and dig for a Force of Negation. Top decking a Force of Negation would make everything smooth. Okay, second copy of Magda. Another copy of Mox Amber. 2 cards in their hand. Makes a construct, okay. Let's cycle. I'm gonna get another island. I think I gotta kill Magda. Vivi plays well with the 3-mana turns card that doesn't light untap your lands. Maybe. I don't know that I'm convinced I want to put that card in the deck, but it could end up impressing us. At the moment, it doesn't really feel like the shell needs a lot more turns effects, or I'm not very tempted by Save at the moment. But it could play better than I expect. It's probably worth testing. Michael 27, Turnpike 47. Okay, so they have one card left in their hand. Obviously, if it's a Song of Creation, it might not even do anything because they only have the one card. So seems like these are gonna be 12 power. Yeah, seems like I just play the Vivi, the ability to surveil, and then I'm counting 12 as Tamiyo Clue plus Construct makes these hit me for 12. I guess if they get one more artifact, then we can just still take the hit and go to 1. How do you feel about the mono blue Eldrazi Turns deck worth revisiting? Maybe. I mean, just Ugin ended up not being a good fit for the deck, so you could play the older version of the deck. It was definitely fun. They don't make a Construct main phase. Again, it's going to be very tough for them to win with Song of Creation here. Maybe they're going to... Are they going to cast Corvold? Let's go! Spike is my final fantasy is Spike content forever. Hell yeah. Thank you for the resub. I think I'm graveyarding this Emry. Kind of close because the self mill is pretty valuable here. Yeah, I can iterate into Trespass, so let's cast the iteration. So not a lot of help here. I guess I'm gonna go hand Lrien Revealed bottom, exile Tamiyo, cast Tamiyo, shock them down to 2, add a blue, Trespass, and I can't attack because of the Corvold. What card do I want to leave in the yard? I get to leave exactly 1. I guess I want it to be the Flame of Anor that I might get to pick up with the Tamiyo. This deals 3 damage at max. Not quite enough. So if I cast this Lrien Revealed... Doesn't seem like a winning line. Okay, if I can cast Fire Magic and then 1, 2, 3, 4, 4, 7. 7 plus 2 is 9. Yeah, that's not going to be enough. I guess I'm YOLOing this. Interesting. I think that works. Okay, so this is 5 mana, so I can go make 5 blue. Should I make a red too? Casting the Fire Magic is probably just correct for 1 mana to get the Vivi 1 bigger. Okay, so 5 blue, Emry, 4 cards in the yard. 7, 8, 9. And the next turn I can pick up the Flame of Anor still if I like. And they have to chump block with Vivi. I think they're just dead. How's Fire Magic been treating me? I've been liking it. I think it's just like usually better than Pyroclasm as your anti little creature card. Yeah, and they're just dead. That was it. I feel like this was a great game to start off with to show off the idea that we're working with here. Okay, EA is good. Yeah, it's very, very mandatory in my opinion. Glad you came around on it. Thank you for providing your feedback. Don't have Delirium, but I mean, I guess I'll just attack. Why did they have to block there? Well, I mean, because they know I can pick up the Flame of Anor next turn and kill the Corvold, so if they don't block with it this turn, they don't get to block with it next turn. All right, 1 and 0. Oh, the record tracker is working. Nice. Not a big deal, but you could have cast Fire Magic a turn earlier. Yeah, I knew. Not sure if that was right. Okay, pretty good Thoughtseize. Wish I was on the play. Yeah, Lrien is really, really like mandatory too. Like these are the lessons like that we've been learning over the last week or two, and did not have the Trespass tech, did not have the Lrien Revealed tech until Friday. Revealed feels so like obvious in hindsight, but like with Saga, it can be weird to include sometimes. Do you want to draw the Unholy Heat? Okay, well, we get Thoughtseize again. They take the Flame. Yin Frigus, they give her the Twitch Prime. Hope you're doing well. Lrien just has a card to cast when Vivi's big. That's the main thing, yeah. Like Vivi, like it's a good mana sink, flood insurance, velocity enabler. It also lets you. It's also a land, so it's just like just a very good utility land to play in this deck. But that is the big thing. Yeah, you're making a lot of mana. You might as well play like the kind of the free draw 3. Can be good in some games. You get double Thoughtseize too. I do have Delirium. So if I draw a Bauble next turn, I could cast a Lrien Revealed. Roger with the 22 months. Hope you're doing well. The blue-black MDFC tutor can't find sorceries. Yeah, I believe it only finds instants, but that's kind of a good idea if it could find Trespass. What about 1/2 Seagate Restoration? Yeah, Seagate Restoration could be good. There is some. I was thinking about that, and I was thinking about Sink into Stupor also. And like there's definitely some weirdness with these cards where you're a Temporal Trespass deck. So every time you cut a land for an MDFC, you're removing a fetch land or a fetchable. Wait, they took Mox Amber over Unholy Heat. What are they playing? How did they take Amber here? I do kind of feel like they might have a Bowmaster, but when did they take the Heat? So yeah, every time you kind of fetch land or a fetchable every time you do that, which is probably getting Solituded here. I think, do I not cast the Tamiyo though? That's a Pinnacle Monk. Yeah, it's like, so again, all the MDFCs are interesting. Red is less interesting because of Temporal Trespass being triple blue. Seagate Restoration is interesting. Sink is interesting. And the problem with all of these cards, are that they remove fetch lands and fetchables in your Delve deck. Lrien Revealed is not like this, which is kind of interesting. Lrien Revealed is not like this since I think I don't want to crack the Bauble on my turn, but if I drew like a Flame or a Heat, I would like get to heat this. I just don't think I care. Okay, that's a bad card to see, a good card to know about. They main phase this Bowmaster? Why? Do they just have the second copy? They have Ephemerate, don't they? Okay. Great. Well, I hate cycling here, but I guess I gotta. So yeah, Lrien Revealed is like also a card that goes to the yard for Trespass. There's not really any tension there, but you might figure out that you have room to play like one Trespass. Okay, so we can Emry first, or sorry, one Seagate Restoration, but that's just not something I know yet. Is there a world where you'd want 4 Urza Saga, an Ozolith, and some ghostly flicker or repeal effects? Slow your roll there, brother. That's a lot of things. Repeal is interesting. I do think Repeal is a card that I haven't tested in this kind of show. It definitely could be good. Okay, there's Ephemerate. So there's that. We had 4 Urza Saga in this deck. We cut 4 Urza Sagas because they were not performing well. The colorless mana in your Iteration Trespass deck was feeling like a big problemo. You're casting something. Okay, Witch Enchanter, that's fine. So yeah, that was feeling like a problem. Ozolith just for Vivi is not something I would play. I would play Ozolith maybe if I was like playing Patchwork Automaton, maybe like the Wizard artifact thing, but I would not play it. I would not play it just for this. No. Okay, so I'm going to equip the Emry. Take a look. I milled 2 Vivis just now. I still have all 4 Trespasses in the deck, which is cool. Do I want to Lrien Revealed? I guess what I'll do is I'll float a mana and then I'll see if I hate my top card. I do hate my top card, so. I've been hating Saga on my Tamiyo Steel Cutter decks. Yeah, yeah, making that cut, it felt weird, but it's been feeling correct. Is there a way to build this deck that incorporates Cauldron? We tried Cauldron. Cauldron was we tried a version that was very in on Cauldron with Ballista, and it was not performing well. Are we dead to this? So they can get back Sol to put me to 9 and then hit me for exactly 9. Dang, like the turn where I was about to stabilize. Obviously a little flooded this game, although the triple discard spell really got us. I think Bowmaster might have been also lethal. Yeah, so I go to 9, take 9. Okay, game 2. So yeah, maybe like the first Cauldron is still good. I haven't exactly been missing them. Okay, so we're up a game. I don't really want to sideboard a lot. Losing a Shadowspear for Ketramos can be kind of a problem, but a lot of these builds just aren't even playing Ketramos anyways. Usually I want some number of consigns. I want to trim it like a Mox, so like the first 1-for-1's okay. I think I can go down to an Emry. The Cutter Emry interaction is great. Is this tech you developed or something popping up these X more? I mean, I've been playing Steel Cutter Emry since day 1 of Steel Cutter being legal, but it's not like the hardest thing to figure out. Thank you for the 18 months sets. Love you too. Fire Magic seems decent, right? It cleans up Bowmaster kind of well, but I don't think it lines up that well against anything else. Like 3 mana kill Emperor stinks, 3 mana kill Felia stinks. So it's really only good against Bowmaster, and we have a lot of other ways to deal with it. Although Bowmaster is pretty good against us, so maybe it's something you want. Is Magus Harbinger just a bad card against Solitude? Yes, and also bad against 2-color decks that play a lot of basics, like our opponent. Why is Black-White not playing Ketramos anymore? They're kind of coped up, in my opinion. Like, they're all like Recruiter Viopilled, or they seem to be. But in my opinion, like the Ketramos stuff is your best plan against Boros, which is still the most popular deck in the format. So probably losing our Steel Cutter. Snap. Lost the Steel Cutter. We do have a lot of zeros. I think you can usually feel comfy playing the Iteration on turn 2. I'm going to graveyard this. We got the Trespass in our hand. Yeah, I'm gonna fire this off. Okay, we did not hit, but that's okay. Hand, bottom, exile. So no Revolt for Fatal Push available is really good for us. So they have another discard spell, though. So I got a few different options. I kind of like just main phase draw 2. I think because I've drawn a wizard and I'm gonna play the wizard. I'm not 100% sure. So let's go ahead and Bauble and Trespass here. And then I only need to draw 1 card next turn for the Tamiyo. Don't want to draw that. So it's going to tap Steam Vents. I'm going to leave, I think just the Bauble for a future Emry. We have a good card in hand to return to the Tamiyo. A Reprieve would be pretty good here. Huh. That's an interesting development. So we'll see if they have Bowmaster in their hands. Potentially no. Potentially they're baiting the Flame of Anor still. Really? What? Yeah, don't I just kill this, and if I draw a land, then I can... Yeah, I could just also take an extra turn. I guess I attack first. Conqueror's good against us, but just does not get the job done here. So I don't have Delirium at the moment. I guess let's get a Steel Cutter going, though. Oh, this cost too much because of the Avid Interrupter. Interesting. But if I had one more artifact in play, I could have cast it. It's okay. Chirp with the 3 months. Thank you. Welcome back. Feeling pretty good about our spot. Okay, there's a Clarion Conqueror, but I got a backup Flame. And now I can 2 modes. So we'll see if they have the Ephemerate to protect here. They do, and there's not a window for me to like activate anything in response, sadly. That being said, they only have 1 card in hand. I want to leave this as a 3/3 so I can attack. And then let's not play the Amber so we can maybe double spell a bit easier next turn. So attacking for 3, they've got 1 card. Emry Loki, one of the best cards in Modern for the last 5 years. No. I think for the last, like, year, it's been, like, or really since they unbanned Mox Opal, it's been, like, a Modern staple again. Pre-Mox Opal ban, which is most of the last 5 years, Emry wasn't particularly playable. Okay, so they get to Thoughtseize my Lrien Revealed, but they have 1 card in their hand, and they're pretty far behind. Okay, not a bad top deck. How does Flame not fizzle? So Flame has 2 targets. I draw 2 and deal 5. You only fizzle a spell like that if it only has 1 target. Usually 8 Zathis, and usually I don't count like snap. I don't usually count unearthed targets as things to discard to looting for value. Okay, so we're going to game 3 on the draw for game 3. If this was a bit easier to kill Clarion Conqueror. Pre-Mox Opal, Emry was great in Underworld Breach. Well, she was particularly good at Underbreach when Mox Opal was legal. There have been some metagames where Breach Emry was strong, yeah, but there was also like the most of I guess that she was still good pre-Opal too. That's true. I still wouldn't say one of the best cards of Modern over the last 5 years. Is that too nitpicky, maybe? Okay, this hand is good if we draw a land, if we draw an Opal, a Bauble, a Lrien Revealed. So the thing is, calculating this is weird, right? Because like we have 26 good hits on the first draw, since we're on the draw. So population size is going to be 53, and then the sample size, like, we have 26 on the first hit, so we're 50-ish% to hit on the first draw step. But then we also have, we have 3 looks basically with the Surveil, but this count goes way down, where Bauble and Opal aren't really good draws at that point. So that goes down to 21. So we're, I think 78% to hit a land, and about 50% to hit one of our really good draws on turn 1 is going to be a keep for me in a matchup where my opponent is a discard deck. Hopefully they push in response to the trigger. Okay. I'm going to crack the Bauble before they can untap and Bowmaster me. Don't mind so much if we get Thoughtseize, because that means that Emry's more likely to untap and... Oh, sorry, I guess... Definitely want to cycle this Lrien Revealed if they Thoughtseize me. Okay. Great. I have 2 Baubles, I don't care much about this. Do care if they also Solitude me, I guess. Do I like the card design of Iteration? Yeah, I think Iteration's great. I think Iteration's... I I know it's banned in Pioneer, but it should have been Treasure Cruise. It's like so silly when that happened. But in general, I'm a big iteration fan. I didn't even really like when people were calling for Expressive Iteration to be banned. This was amongst the best times Modern has ever had. Modern is really good when people want you to ban like two mana draw 2 that you can only cast on turn 3. Ban in Legacy too. I do think in Legacy it's more problematic for whatever that's worth. Iteration's more powerful in Pioneer with Steel Cutter than Cruise easily. That might be the case. I am of course mostly talking about when it was banned. Like Cruise felt like the much more powerful card draw spell. I don't know if that's still the case because I don't play Pioneer these days, and I bet you guys don't play a lot of Pioneer these days. But yeah, that might be the case now. I'll say easily is probably hyperbolic. Okay, keep a Vivi on top. So saving this for a Clarion Conqueror could be good. Let me see what their top card is. An Emperor of Bones. That doesn't really have any super good targets. Yeah, I'm going to wait on the Unholy Heat here. Those spells never saw that much play outside of Phoenix because you need to build your deck around them. Iteration is very strong on rate and played a lot of decks. So I guess this is a disconnect I've been feeling with like Magic players in general lately, where like Cruise was the stronger card in Phoenix, right? And Cruise was the card like Phoenix was the main deck playing both these cards, right? And that's my memory, but like Cruise is more powerful in Phoenix. Iteration sees more play in other decks. And I just feel a general disconnect from players when we have these kind of conversations, because it seems like the point keeps getting made like over and over and over again that some cards are fine because they only see play in one deck. And I think that point, I think it's weird that point keeps getting made, because for the most part, like decks are like, or cards are really good in one specific deck. There are exceptions, right? But like, I guess I just don't think the fact that it's mostly played in one deck is like much of a point at all. Like, if it's really problematic in one deck, that's like the top deck of the format. I don't know. I just think you banned that one. But I'm not saying I'm like right about this or whatever. But I just think the disconnect is interesting. Because the iteration, it's worth like at least 3 damage. Well, the ban would be nerfing blue red in general, not banning one card. Yeah. Of course, Claudia, like you know a lot more about Pioneer than I do. So, I just think it's interesting the philosophy of banning the less powerful card because it's more versatile. To me, that's something that still is like, and it just for me, that's just like not a direction like I think about when I think about ban stuff. In fact, I generally like more versatile cards to exist, and like the more narrow, powerful cards to exist less. But I think those are my top 5. All right, I'm gonna go to 5 here. Obviously, mulling to 5 isn't ideal, but keeping this kind of 5-card hand is ideal. Just due to good turn 1. Lurrus was on my list. My top 4 is Hogak, Breach, Nadu, Lurrus. Hogak, Breach, Nadu, Lurrus. And I don't know what my 5th card is. Yeah, so you want to go Tamiyo before Emry here so they can't Solitude your Emry. I guess you could just float mana, but I guess it's the same. No Oko. Oko might be 5th. Like, there's just like a lot of like the thing about Oko is that people still don't realize is Oko just was not as powerful in Modern as it was in Standard, Pioneer, Legacy, Vintage. Oko was stronger in all of those formats than it was in Modern. It was just like it was still very very strong in Modern, but it wasn't as insane. And it was also coming at a time where there was a lot of other insane stuff in Modern. But it was still Oko was still very very good, but it just wasn't again just wasn't the. In just my opinion, was better than Standard, Pioneer, Legacy. Not a bad mold of 5. This is by Jersey. This is Victor Wembanyama, my favorite NBA player. Where does Amulet land on the board? Like much lower. I tend to like rank like lower card or like older cards not as harshly. Because like the later in the game that you make your design mistake, the worse it is, in my opinion. Okay, there's a let's keep this Temporal Trespass. Obviously, we're missing our land drop here, but the likelihood of us being able to go like Unholy Heat a Frog into Trespass is pretty high, although less likely now. Thoughts on the finals so far? I watched last night's game. I got a YouTube TV free trial. As someone who's kind of a newish NBA fan, the biggest problem with the league seems to be that like the barrier to entry is so high for someone who doesn't have cable TV. Like you have to spend like $60-$70 a month to watch games regularly, and you might not get to watch all the games for that price, which is crazy when you also think that like 30% of your watching time is ads. It's like so much more expensive than watching anything else. And there's like way more ads. So that's something that's kind of turning me off from watching the games. It does, from what I can tell about the finals, though, OKC versus the Pacers have like a really fun matchup. I think the matchup is good. In Sweden, I pay €15 for everything. Yeah, I might start VPNing. Yeah, I know there's a lot of drama about the fouls, but I just don't know enough about the rules to really say what's going on there. Is a prismatic ending? Okay, prismatic ending by Tamiyo. And they play a Verge. And then they Thoughtseize me. Okay, well, I'd rather them Thoughtseize the Revealed than the Trespass, I think, just because it's just like this is 2 cards for 0 mana, basically, with the Bauble. Yeah. Not too bad. Max has the finals. I was on Max yesterday. They didn't have it, but I don't know, maybe I couldn't find it for some reason. The finals are free on ABC. Why use YouTube TV? You could buy a $15 antenna. Well, I don't know. I was at home yesterday. Esther had the car, and I didn't go to the store to buy an antenna. I'm in 2025. I didn't think about buying an antenna. Okay. I got a free trial, though. Alright, so there's an Emperor of Bones. We're definitely going to want to heat that before they can get rid of my Opal, or my Bauble, but they might have an Ephemerate. Is Cutter one of the best 2-drops ever made? For sure, yeah. So they graveyard Ophelia, 4 cards in their hand here. We mold to 5 this game. Brilliant mold to 5. More cards. Got a lot of card draw in the deck. Well, Okay, gonna upkeep the Bauble because of Thoughtseize again. Gonna be hitting our land drops for a little bit. gonna cast Witch Enchanter maybe. I think Goblin Charbelcher is the lowest card to use play in Modern. Can't think of another. I mean, Blood Moon was Blood Moon, Lightning Bolt. Can't really get older than Bolt. Any other alpha cards that see play in Modern? Regrowth. I've cast a Regrowth once or twice, like literally once or twice. Not a very good Modern card. Oh yeah, Counterspell. Is Bolt still played? Yeah. Prowess is one of the top decks of Modern, and it plays Lightning Bolt. Well, we win. The Trespasses have just continued to look so good. Like, unbelievably good. I don't think it's going to be right to play 4, but if I could play 3.5, I might. Obviously, we don't need this too, but they've just been so strong. Yeah, Zoo plays Bolt too. Okay, so we are up a game against Esper Ketra Frog. I think the consigns are usually a bit worse against them. I think I'm just going to bring in 1 over an Amber. Savor the Moment's like 0.5. Yeah, I mean, Saber could be worth testing. It is good with like Steel Cutter, Tamiyo, Emry, Vivi. The thing is, I just don't know that I want another one of these effects. How's the stream room renovation going? So hopefully I can get carpet installed. Like the I had to do carpet instead of hardwood. They really fumbled on like the measurements. It's whatever, but I ordered the labor for the carpet. It should the material should be in 2 days, and then we'll get the labor scheduled, and then I'm definitely excited to get back up there. Yeah, Tamiyo with sabers, yeah, can be very. I feel like Consign has quietly warped the format around it. Do you play Living End by any chance? That's not really my impression. I think I want to be able to heat a. I want to be able to heat a Felia, so let's. Let's just be able to cycle and heat here. Has my opinion on Vivi changed, or is he still decent but overhyped? I feel like decent but overhyped still feels perfect. Like, just like we're finding a build that is good. Vivi feels like it fits in this deck. Maybe I overestimated like the average Modern player's opinion of Vivi, but from what I could tell, talking to people and doing what I usually do, it seemed like people felt like Vivi was going to be a Modern, a format-defining card, and Vivi is just like not a format-defining card. And people thought Vivi would be a key player that enabled Storm and enabled Paradoxical Outcome combo, and like, of course, that's just not the case. But Vivi does have room in decks like this. Okay, so there's a Clarion Conqueror. We have a Heat. We don't have Delirium. Yeah, I think you're right, Panda. So maybe I play the Vivi hoping it dies so I get a little bit closer to Delirium. I don't know if that makes, or how much sense that makes. Could iterate. Would you ever play a K command in a Vivi shell? I might play Kolaghan's command. There's been a lot of talk about like glaring Fleshraker Vivi, and I understand that there's some overlap, but I don't really think there's enough. High Noon is like insanely tough to beat usually. We'll see what we can do. I keep thinking Vivi has flying. Like I was thinking for a second I could block and heat. But... Yeah. This is also. I think there is some extent of like Commander players being interested in Modern, knowing that Vivi is a really nice commander, and thinking that maybe it translates. You're looking at the ground wrong. Vivi is standing on the ground looking up. What ground? Being gaslit by the Final Fantasy fans, like usual. So I just want this untapped. I think I'm going to heat the Wisp. Just being able to cast a second spell on this turn is really nice, and this is one more type 4 Delirium for another copy of Unholy Heat, potentially. So control a Flame of Anor, that would be really big. Alright, what do I want my spell for this turn to be? I think I'm going to cast the Trespass. Cycle to him. Can't quite attack. Guess this is worse for Delirium. Draw 3 flip. I can't, I don't have 5 mana. Also, flipping is not very good into the Clarion Conqueror. Maybe Steel Cutter and Equip was better because then I had an attack. Oh, I can't equip because of the Clarion Conqueror. Well, let's attack for 3. This doesn't look like any of the Esper Blink lists that get run commonly. What's weird about it? I feel like I see all of these cards in every Esper Blink list. Like one of these in the sideboard. This is a sideboard card. Is there any way Repeal is correct in this build, like in the Narset version? It's possible. Like, Repeal is not as good in this shell as it is, I think, with, like, Jeskai Ascendancy and Narset, but it is good with Vivi, it is good with Tamiyo. It does help you bounce stuff like High Noon. Get kind of fetch for Noda War. It's just so hard to kind of fetch for in your Delve deck. So I guess I'm going to be chumping with Tamiyo this turn. Although if they just cast Solitude, I'll concede. Alright. I think we just go to the play for game 3. Try to run our zeros out early to play around High Noon. I don't think I'm bringing in Force of Negation. Okay, on the play. Hard to mulligan this. Don't think we need to run out the Mox in turn 1. We'll run them out turn 2 because of High Noon. Fire Magic, not enough 1 toughness on the other side. I don't think there's enough 1 toughness. It's like Wisp and like maybe Bowmaster. We haven't been shown Bowmaster yet. Have you had any free starter lookout decks? Just curious. Well, we still have the Valakut free starter deck, which I feel like was the best one we had in a long time, and I would still recommend that one. I think I'm going to cast the Iteration. I want to be able to double crack next turn, potentially. I'm going to play out the Opal because of High Noon. Kefka is a wizard. Which one is Kefka? If that's the Grixis 4-drop, that card is so unplayable. Wait, someone cast that card against us the other day, and it's just like... Y'all gotta respect yourselves. So we've drawn a Vivi. Doesn't seem like my opponent's that likely to have a removal spell, because I think they just drew this, right? I think if they had push, they would have cast it turn 1. So I think that means I'm going to cast the Vivi here. Might have a Path to Exile. That card's been seeing play again. Oh, 5 mana. Well, now we're talking. If they Solitude, that's okay. I mean, Kuja, the 4-mana Wizard Reckless. That's the card I thought y'all were talking about. I do not know the name of all these Final Fantasy characters still. Someone cast the 4-drop wizard guy against me, and it was not a card that looked playable. All right, do I get to untap with my Vivi? They've played a Psychic Frog. Come on, big money. Let's go. Obviously, the Steel Cutter is very tempting, but I think with this Lrien Revealed in my hand, wanting to do this. So this is 3, 4. Imagine drawing Temporal Trespass. Okay, I do not have Delirium. Blue, red, blue, red. So by heat, they have to discard 1 card. This is a very odd time to Solitude. I still don't have Delirium, so I think the plan is to block with the Frog. If they discard 2 cards, then I have Delirium, and then I can heat this next turn. What did they pitch? They pitched another copy of Solitude. Well, thanks for all the damage and the life and the mana. 3 cards in their hand. Hopefully no Ketchermos. Overlord. There's a Frog, a Solitude, and 2 Overlords that they can't get back. They do choose Solitude. So now if they pitch, then they can stop me from getting access to Delirium. I am going to block. Kind of hoping just for a double discard, I guess. Turns this exchange into a 3 for 2. Although I would also not be too upset if Tamiyo lived. Okay. Not too upset. They play a Godless Shrine. Their hand is Solitude mystery card, so their mystery card is Ophelia, which would be perfect. No, it's not Ophelia. It's another frog. So now I don't have Delirium. Okay, now I will have Delirium. Okay, so let's go. Surveil. That's going to the graveyard. Talking about Tifa, could the shell play the 1-drop Kokobo as a cheap Tarmogoyf? If we had that in our first draft, it was like a landfall aggro deck. They just seemed like worse than kind of all the other aggro decks you could play. All right, that's a good draw. Does leave them with the Solitude in the hand, so like we could heat to bait the Solitude out first, I guess, and then we could have Flame of Anor in response. Okay, that would have been pretty nice. Probably gonna win anyways. Yeah, just got too excited drawing the heat, I guess. That's a good draw for them. I think we want to be forcing the action with Emry instead of Vivi. Or so it's Emry instead of Tamiyo. Do I still have my other Surveil land? Looks like the other one's in the graveyard already. So no more Delirium. Their hand is going to be Solitude and 2 mystery cards after they untap. Possible that this Overlord will be hard to heat. Is it specifically Trespass that's good with Vivi, or extra turns in general? It occurs to me, for example, that Vivi's mana generation is somewhat mitigates the downside of Savor the Moment. I mean, Vivi is good with extra turns. Trespass lets you untap your lands, and you can cast it really consistently, and getting to untap your lands is a lot better than not getting to untap your lands. You also don't get to untap your creatures, do you? That's a big problem with Vivi, isn't it? So, yeah, people have been bringing up Savor the Moment. It could be fine to play Savor, for sure. I'm not against testing it. I dislike how opponent Moto makes me really have to squint to figure out what my opponent took on effects like that Overlord Rumble track. So, well, it does tell you what they took in the game log, so I would recommend having this open. I don't have it on screen. I hide it from you, but I just tell you out loud. But, you know, you can be free. All right, so if I heat this Improve Bones, they are just going to adapt in response. So let's take a draw step first. Don't even necessarily hate if that happens. Let's see what we draw, because I just get more damage on the Vivi. Okay, well, we've had our graveyard hated. This is 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 mana. This costs 10 right now, basically, with the minus. If I go heat, these basically pay... It's positive mana, because they go to the graveyard, and they go to the... into the Vivi. So I can go heat. So then tap these two. I have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 mana still available, actual mana, plus 2. So it's 7. I guess I would have to pick up a heat with the Tamiyo and cast it again, although that wouldn't work because... Yeah, that wouldn't work. So I think I'm just going to plus this and chill. Here it is, Solitude Mystery card. Heat Emry. It's kind of smart. So I could double heat now to deal 2 more damage and gain 2 more life. What I think I'd like to do instead is heat on my opponent's upkeep so that we make them spend the 2 mana on their turn. Okay, and then they say no to the adapt. Would you say we're favored to win this game? I would have said that until you asked that question. Now it's not looking too good for us. It's looking a little bit better. Morning agent. All right, it's looking better, y'all. Getting better all the time. I mean, too many options syndrome, I guess. But making some of the plays of all time. Yeah, I mean, I think really beyond them, beyond that turn where they like just didn't Solitude for way too long, I think they played this match fine. So played new Emry to make a Trespass cheaper, and then I'm just going to cast Trespass and equip the Steel Cutter. Three-0? Temporal Trespass was the key to all of this. Let's get a prediction going. Well, let's keep this hand. Every creature deck with wizards feels like it runs some cavern. It's pretty tough with Iteration and Flame of Anor to run a bunch of caverns. Okay, Street Wraith, Faithless Looting, so maybe some kind of Hollow 1 variant. Mox Opal would be the best draw. I guess Amber would be worse because we want to get the Steel Cutter token. They discard a Frog, and they Street Wraith again. They also have a second Arid Mesa. There's one Hollow 1. Just one, okay. Flame of Anor is pretty good against the Hollow 1 sometimes. So I may want to leave this Bauble Probably want to leave the Bauble in hand. Let me see what my top card is. If it's something like this, then I could play out the other Bauble pretty easily. So let's do that to maybe get extra spells going. Maybe even like Flame of Anor. I want to crack this main phase because of the possibility of main deck Orcish Bowmaster. Not definitely something they have, but sometimes they play Bowmaster. Second Steel Cutter is interesting. I don't know if I'm going to be able to deploy it. They're playing Crab. That's interesting. Wonder if they have Vengevine. Must if they have Crab, right? That does sound fun. Real bad tech. They get Mountain despite being a Frog deck. They do mill a Vengevine and they mill a Detective's Phoenix. And so we know they have a Marauding Mako to get back a Vengevine here. Interesting that they're considering the Phoenix instead, it seems. I probably do need to chump this turn because of the Phoenix. Like if I take 8 and then the flying next turn is going to be really dangerous. An untapped land or an Opal would be helpful. Temporal Trespass could be nice to set up for. It might be a little slow for that. I'm going to go ahead and chump block. Take 4 down to 15. We draw Flame of Anor, which is... If this was untapped, it would be insane. We just kill this, kill this. So let's get an island. And then... Yeah, seems like I just want to go second Steel Cutter Amber, and then... Do I leave everything back to block? I think so. So if we draw a Trespass, we can go Emry, Trespass, attack. Yeah, I can't play Emry. I could play Emry. I could play Emry and I'd have one less Steel Cutter token, but I could just play Emry next turn and Flame of Anor. So I think the extra token is better because like I just need the blockers. They have a second Crab and a second fetch land. It's kind of insane. They get another basic mountain, so hopefully they draw a Psychic Frog at some point. Although I don't know if this game is going to go that long. There's one more Vengevine, one more Detective's Phoenix, and an Ox of Agonis. They're going for Ox over Phoenixes? Maybe they'll just mill themselves and like kill them with Flame of Anor. Crab always impressing. When I play Crab, I just like don't draw a fetch land. It dies immediately. I don't know. I feel like I'd never have games with Crab like this, although I don't play it that often, I guess, either. So this is 16 damage. I could potentially just block one of these. The thing is, Emry Flame, like I get 2 more blockers, and I can kill this, and I can kill one thing with Phoenix, and I can like try to draw into a Temporal Trespass to go over the top. So I think I'm gonna play towards this chump block plan. Well, I don't know if it's how wise this is. Keith with the 7 months, thank you, welcome back. Top decking Trespass, maybe we would regret this a little bit. Is there any way? I don't think there's any way I'm not casting the Emry here. The Bauble's kind of nice because now I can flame on their turn, I suppose. So I guess I need to ask myself also how alive... I guess it doesn't make me that alive. So let's just pass. Don't think we're going to live the dream of killing them by making them deck with this Flame of Anor. Are we dead to some Phoenix? The Flame, I think, can kill 2 things that Phoenix is on it. Unless they put it on the Shark, then I have to like kill in response maybe. There's another Vengevine. Yeah, now I go kill this, dead. So I think we can hope that they just bestow one more Phoenix. I don't. Oh, they do have two more in the yard. Okay. Well, pretty good. Down a game. Should be a fun matchup. Let's bring in the lanterns. Fire magic doesn't seem like it's a card we want. I think just the lanterns. I think we can go down one Bauble and bring in this many lanterns. Like these cycle. I feel like I want all my Moxen. I want all my Trespasses. I want all my iterations. Maybe I go down one iteration, one Steel Cutter. I feel like Vivi is better at like going over the top. Like the Steel Cutter on the play, the Steel Cutters are going to be better, but actually, I wonder if we could just go off the Steel Cutters for the most part. We've lost every game one, really? Well, that's interesting. I thought we won at least one game one. Trim a Tamiyo ever? I feel like, yeah, Tamiyo's kind of bad against Burning Inquiry. I don't remember seeing Burning Inquiry, though. Izzet never plays Gravitate. We have 3 lanterns. The thing is, like, Tamiyo helps my fast starts, and I think that's just, you know, obviously what I want, especially on the play. Let's try this. You won game one versus Esper. Yeah, I thought we won at least one game one. Let's keep this, obviously. Emry feels a little soft in the matchup. No. I disagree. So, like, the thing is, like, Emry helps set up for Temporal Trespass, and I think, like, Vivi Trespass goes over the top of what they're doing. So that's a big part of my vision for playing this matchup is setting up for Emry Trespass. Okay, we are not really very scared of Ancient Grudge at all, not being on Saga. A little bit scared of that. Amber would be nice. If I flip the Tamiyo is likely dead. So I think I'm just going to try to surveil for land number 3 here. Okay, Emry would be nice to have had this turn. I think I got to graveyard it. And I don't see land number 3, so I'm going to just play out the Bauble, trying to get the Vivi down. And then I'm going to play at the Lantern so we don't get, like, looting Vengevine too badly. If I draw a land, we don't care as much about hollow ones either, thankfully. Why is she bad at Inquiry? Yeah, if you have Tamiyo, the Inquiry, they flip it and they just kill it when you get no value. Not going to crack the Lantern just for a possible Phoenix right now, although it would be bad. High chance I'm cracking in response to this looting, though. Wooden Tormos could be better than Lantern. Against Boros, it's really important that you can exile Flash for 1 mana, then draw a card and like keep up on card parity. So that's the main reason we have Lantern instead. Yeah, also you just card draw in general. Yeah, I'm gonna pop this to play around Phoenix. Would love to draw land and kill this with Flame and flip the Tamiyo. Mox, either Moxen works too. So get it for 5 down to 12. So probably no Street Wraith or extra looting. Okay, maybe Fire Magic was correct to play. Well, these Lrien Reveals do got big downsides, I guess. I am going... This is what? 611 damage. To get very lucky to win this one. Feeling good about our decision to play around the Phoenix, I guess. If I draw Mox Amber and another 0-drop, and I could go Vivi into Trespass, okay. All Lrien Revealed. Well, Reels give, they also take away, I guess. Let's get a 4-1 prediction. Usually, Crabvine's pretty good against Izzet. Really needs to surveil into a land, but it's very good if it does. It's also not so good if it surveils into Lrien Revealed. I'm going to mulligan. It seems very close. This hand is better. Let's put back Lrien Revealed. From what I've seen, people say Minstrel hasn't delivered on its promise. That damn Minstrel, it promised! I don't know what it promised. Okay, Mountain Galvanic Discharge is interesting. Yeah, I mean, a lot of Titan players don't even like Green Sun Zenith, so I don't think if you don't like Green Sun Zenith, you're not going to like the Minstrel. Okay, we did not mill any artifacts. I'd like to see you retry Nautilus Naughty with Wandering Minstrel. Seems like it's worse than like Lotus Cobra. Okay, just Boros that drew the mountain. Less interesting. I think I just keep that on top because I don't mind if they hit it with Ragavan. Lorion's been rather unkind. It was very kind to us earlier this league. It like won us at least 2 games, but the last 2 games it has been pretty unkind, I agree. There's a Seasoned Pyromancer. I know you don't play Commander, but the Regalia is amazing. Oh, I don't know what card that is. I used to play some Commander, but it's been a long time. I do kind of in general like the format. Drawing a 0 to make Vivi a 4 toughness would be so nice. This is indeed so nice. 1 mana shy of casting Flame and just really being ahead here, but the fact that they can't keep the Static Prison and Flame or just Flage my Vivi is really nice. If they attack with the Ragavan, that means they probably have Flage. They have a second copy of Static Prison. Yeah. Why pay 7 mana for Tide when you can pay 0 mana just to search for it? Yeah. Pretty valid. They hit a Cori-Steel Cutter, which they probably cast. So they play a Johnny. And they discharge you, Johnny. Okay, let's move to game 2. Pretty gross. Maybe should have kept the set. I don't know. Probably not. All right, so I'm kind of between bringing in 2 or 3 lanterns here in addition to the fire magics. I really want to be in on the trespasses. They were quite good the last time we played this kind of matchup. I wanted to cut 1 Emry, 1 Amber, 1 Bauble, and then I was kind of stuck on what else to cut here. I'm thinking you could maybe cut a Lrien Revealed. Let's try this. Maybe Lrien should be what was saying. I know these last 2 games have been unkind to us. The rest of the league, I think, really makes you want to play the full 4 Lrien. It's just, I think it's just too mandatory. I think I got to keep this. Not a great hand, though. It's a promising card to keep on top. Has anyone offered Step Through as extra copies of Vivi? I'm not interested in playing like a 5 mana Vivi. The card's not that good. Like, you just don't have enough draw on the deck without the Lrien Revealeds. No 1 or 2 drop for our opponent. So when I play this Vivi, it is going to die to Galvanic Discharge. I think I'm going to play 1 because I have 2. I think I just pass so that next turn I can go Vivi 0/0 Flame. Okay, that worked out. This was worse if they just decided to Flage, of course. Does seem like they have another one. Oh, nice. Love that for us. So I could Vivi now to iteration. I think I'm gonna do that so I can maybe hit a land instead. It's possible just casting the iterations better. So hand, bottom, exile. Seven toughness, probably not the most relevant number. I don't have any more surveillance. I guess I grab Steam Vents. Maybe Scalding Tarn's better because of Temporal Trespass, although I don't think we're going to really have an issue. Delvin. They didn't crack their fetch. They're cracking it in their upkeep, which is probably a little worse than draw step because of the Bauble. There's a Guide of Souls. Have the Static Prison. They haven't been doing a lot, so I do think their hand is very answer heavy. Okay, March. I mean, 4 mana, that's your whole turn. That's very okay with me. So we'll go Steel Cutter, solid top deck, draw 2, make a token. Okay, Trespass is great. We can play 2 of these next turn. So the hand is Guide of Souls, 4 mystery cards. One of the mystery cards is a basic mountain. There's the Guide of Souls. Into Seasoned Pyromancer. Get an energy. Have some stuff to sack to this bombardment. They discard 2 lands, so they were just very flooded, and they just top deck Spyro. And they find a Static Prison for the Steel Cutter. Okay. So that's going to, of course, make this Trespass turn, if I do go for Trespass, less interesting. Let's just start off with another draw 2, I guess. They're thinking about sacking to bombardment. Maybe I should have played a land first to be able to flame in response if they do. I would love to draw a 1-mana wizard, which I don't do. I think I got to Trespass and kind of take control a little bit here. Like, be able to iterate into a wizard and then flame the Guide of Souls. So I'm going to leave Flame in the yard, Bauble in the yard. So 1 card in their hand still. There's a wizard. So why don't we start off with this? They'll sack and put me down to 14 life. Still get to draw 2. So the problem with playing Vivi, I guess I can go Vivi and Iteration to save it from a Flage. I think I'm just gonna pass. I think Flage is just a little bit too much of a headache. Two energy, 2 cards. And they just passed the turn. So that's an interesting draw because this allows me to grow the Vivi in response to a bombardment. I guess let me go ahead and pick up this Flame of Anor, huh? So I'm going to go cast Vivi, cast Iteration. And then if they Galvanic Discharge, I have the option of trying to Flame and Fire Magic and then making them sack the Static Prison, but they didn't, so I guess that's good news. I already have a Fire Magic, so I guess I'll put the draw 3 into my hand and iterate again. Finding a Bauble for the Opals would be really nice. Lantern, similarly nice, I suppose. So I'm going to target the Seasoned Pyromancer, but they're going to activate it in response, I suppose. And I have the Fire Magic to deal with that. I don't know if I can kill this turn. So I'm going to cast the Fire Magic, and my opponent is going to kill my Tamiyo, probably, and then put me down to 13. Then we play a Mox Opal. Keep the new one, of course. Just make 5 mana to Lrien Revealed, putting my opponent down to 4 lives, so I need to cast 4 more spells. Wow, okay, that was easy. Floater red. And Vivi lives because my opponent is dead before this heat resolves. So we're going to game 3. Might want like the 3rd lantern on the draw. I think I'm gonna run this. Not sure what I would cut for it. Do you have any plans for Kalia Bahamut? Not at the moment. Could be something we do. Keeping our 7. Vexing Bauble. So we could potentially destroy that with a Flame of Anor at some point. We might also be somewhat okay just playing Vivi and Bauble on turn 3 so that it just doesn't die to a Flage. Johnny's pretty good. It would be really nice if we could find fire magic, I guess. Well, doesn't feel amazing, but... And will feel worse if they have Galvanic Discharge, but I think just trying to play around Flage is where we're at. And they do have the Discharge. So they have 2 cards in their hand, drawing up to 3. One of the cards is an Arena of Glory. If this is lightning, that'd be pretty cool. It's a Seasoned Pyromancer. So fire magic does clean up this board pretty well. Well, they can have 2 cards still in their hand. We could maybe like fetch Surveil. Into Trespass here. Just digging for a fire magic off the top. Not the best Trespass. Why couldn't you live, Vivi? Right, another one, which I guess we cast and lose the game with. I suppose we could like heat the Seasoned Pyromancer, take 4, draw Flame of Anor. Would Vivi be a good threat in Snap Control deck, or does she need Moxes? I'm not super interested in playing Vivi without Moxen and Bauble. Those are the cards Vivi's good with. So I'm down to 2. They got 2 cards in their hand. Probably gonna lose this one. All right, 3-0 into 3-2 doesn't feel great. But I feel like this was an exciting league. We need to run it back too because I need to know if we're challenging with this on Friday. Any changes we want to make? I think I would just want to run it back.